Welcome to Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw. Being able to communicate with others, especially in a new language, is a big deal, and it takes time and practice and support. So how do those learning English find that time between school and work and family? And what if they could get help right there at work? Well, now that idea caught a gear right here in the Mid-Valley, and it's working. We're going to learn more about it soon. It's just one of the many innovative programs offered by Mid-Valley Literacy Center, whose founder, Vivian Ang, is with us today. Hi, Vivian, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Along with a student of hers, Chris Rose. Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm so glad you could join us today. Vivian, you say on your website that you dreamed of a literacy center 20 years before it finally happened in 2009. What was your dream? Why did it happen? And
well, my dream was really to help people. That's what my goal is. And we want to help people because when I was in the 3rd grade, I couldn't read. And that's why I know that we need to help people.
You know, I've known you since 2009, and that's the first time I've ever heard you say that.
I don't usually say it.
Well, that's wonderful to hear you say that.
I failed the 3rd grade because I couldn't read.
Oh, why was that?
It was in a school here in Oregon, and they said I couldn't read. I wasn't able to understand the words because they were doing sight reading instead of phonics, and we do a combination.
Yeah, I learned phonetically.
Exactly. And they weren't doing that at that time. They were only doing what they call whole language.
Oh, son of, you see it and you say it? Mm-hmm. That didn't work with you, did it?
And it didn't work with me.
Well, you probably weren't alone.
No, I wasn't.
So thank you for telling me that. I really appreciate your
Thank you.
Courage telling us that. You know,
because that's not something I usually talk about.
Well, I think it needs to be talked about now because people have a way of learning language, period.
Yes.
And that was a program which eventually didn't work anymore, did it?
No, it didn't. In fact, it was for 50 years and it didn't work. And so now they're going to a combination of whole language and phonics. So the combination is, English is not the easiest language to learn.
No.
I tell you that English is not the easiest language to learn. It's one of the ones that is more difficult because of the fact that you can't, there's a whole bunch of reasons, but you can't really read the letters and tell what they say.
If I were to tell you right, it's R-I-G-H-T.
And it's not. It's right. Well, right is what?
Well, it could also be right as in write a letter.
Exactly. W-R-I-T-E.
Right.
Oh, it gets very confusing.
Well, what was going on in 2009 that made you say, I've got to get this going?
The local community college closed their literacy volunteer program, and that's what I was a part of for 9 years. And I did this because I thought we could help people. We needed to help people. We helped the people learn English. We help people learn the general educational development with this GED in English or Spanish. We also do basic computers. We do everything. And the computers were donated by local community colleges or from the local staff.
Really?
Yes. MAPS Credit Union was the one that gave us our computers.
So when they stopped those programs, why did they do that?
Well, they said it was not a, quote, cash cow. That's what they said.
It wasn't paying for itself.
It wasn't paying for itself. And that's because the local community college, they were the 2nd largest in the program and of the state. And they closed that program, and it was a domino effect, and all the community colleges closed their programs. And I said, we've got to be able to help people. So we've worked with more than 5,000 students in 7 counties.
Wait a minute, 5,000 students have gone through your programs?
More than 5,000
In 7 counties?
in 7 counties
Since 2009?
since 2009.
Oh my gosh, that's what you've done in 15 years.
Yes.
There really is a need for it.
There is a need. There's a huge need, and our numbers are increasing for our student population because English for speakers of the languages is a big thing. People need to learn how to speak English if they're going to get a better job.
So English speakers need as much help as those for whom
Exactly.
English is a second language. And you're going to tell us your story in a few minutes. I loved your story. I want to share it with people. But tell me again about who you principally serve.
We principally serve people who are learning English, so they could be from any countries. We've had 65 countries represented and at least 35 languages. So we only check one language on the form, and they may speak 2 or 3 languages. So we only check one.
All right.
So 35 languages is huge.
Yes, because think about it. Each one of those may speak more than one language.
Right.
How many, I'm going to just have to say that you clearly have a passion for this. What are your guiding principles with all your programs?
The guiding principle of all of our programs are really to help people. We really want to help people learn English. We want to help people get their GED, as Chris knows. And we train volunteer tutors. We've trained more than 800 volunteer tutors since 2009.
800?
More than 800.
May I ask what's in it for them, bluntly?
Well, actually, most of them are people who have had some kind of educational experience, and they just want to help people, and they teach these classes as volunteers, and it's wonderful.
Do they speak only in English to the students?
Well, we had one tutor that had 5 people in her class. Each one was from a different country speaking a different language. So yes, English is the only language we speak.
All those volunteers, they need training.
Well, they do. And we do training for volunteer tutors. So we do need tutors. We need volunteers. But we've got about 30 people that teach classes from GED to computers to English for speakers of the languages. It doesn't matter what it is. If they are interested at all in volunteering, that's what we do.
I want to take a moment to bring up on screen for our audience so they get a chance to take a look for themselves at what your programs are. I'm going to read them off here. English for speakers of other languages, ESOL, that's your #1
That's we have
program.
6 levels. So they have to be tested to make sure that they're in that level.
All right.
So we have 6 levels.
All right, 6 levels. GED preparation,
In English or Spanish.
basic computer, and Spanish course. This is interesting because you say here that with the high Hispanic population in our communities, this basic course assists English-speaking students who need to communicate daily with Spanish speakers.
And that's one of the things that we do. We actually have a native Spanish speaker who teaches the classes. And so we can go on site. And we have 14 people right now who are signed up for that particular one.
Is that a newer program?
Well, no, we've actually had it from the very beginning.
All right. Our next one here is pre-CNA courses for those looking to become a certified nursing specialist, and so they can take those state exams.
Right. We go through the preparation for certified nursing assistants. So we don't have native English speakers going through that program because the intent is to help people with language skills that medical is another language.
Yeah. Yes.
And so they have to learn that other language, but they've got to learn it from the standpoint of whether they are Spanish speakers or any other language. They have to learn this
Terminology.
jargon.
Yeah.
Terminology.
And that's challenging enough for those who speak English.
It is. But we don't necessarily work with English speakers on that particular program, because the preparation for certified nursing assistants is really to help people who are speaking another language.
All right. And you have citizen preparation classes? What
Citizenship preparation, there's a lot of people who want citizenship, and they don't realize the value of citizenship, because if they have to renew their green card every 10 years, once they become a citizen, they don't have to do that.
Why is that a problem for them?
Well, because they're afraid of it. Most people are afraid that they can't, because there's 4 things that they have to do. If they are not 50 years old and have had residency for 20 years, they have to do it in English. So they have to have a 20-page application, which is now 14 online, and they have to have English reading ability, and they have to have English writing ability, and they have to have 100 history questions. And they're very difficult, and they have to learn them in English.
So how many people actually take this course, given all the residency requirements and English language requirements?
17 people last year that got their citizenship, and we've had 17 this year. And so far this year we've had 12 people that have passed their citizenship.
And what did they tell you after all that?
They are very, very thankful that they've got their citizenship.
Thank you. And let's go to your number 2 most popular course. That is the workplace literacy. Tell me about it.
The workplace literacy is where we go on site to the workplace or to the business that needs to have either Spanish for their staff or English for their employees that need to improve their English skills, to do better on the job and have fewer mistakes in the job. There's a whole bunch of reasons why they need to learn English, but that's why we do it. So we have paid teachers who go on site to those businesses, and we do this on site because if the student has to go someplace else to get their language skills, they probably are not going to do it. They just don't have the ability to do it. But if it's on the site, that's a whole different situation, and they actually improve their English skills.
So how do employers even find out about this program?
Well, most of it is by word of mouth, but it's on our website also. And so businesses can check on the website to see if they qualify. It doesn't matter what they have, whether it's they have to have at least 5 employees who want to learn English and 5 employees who want to learn Spanish. That's all we require.
So who are there books involved, and who pays for them?
We buy the books, and they are sent to, this is all paid for out of a grant that we have. So the customized curriculum that we develop, they give us 100 or more vocabulary words, and then from that we develop the curriculum. And then we also give them textbooks. We give them all these different kinds of tests to find out where they're at, to make sure that they are not going to be in a class that's too high for them or too low for them.
What kind of feedback are the business owners telling you?
They're coming back a second time. They're telling, oh yes, they're telling us that they are very, 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 very helpful for our students, and they want to help their employees. They've got to be able to help their employees.
Well, they can't help employees with whom they can't communicate, and vice versa.
Exactly. But on the other hand, some of them have translators, but translation is not a good way to go. If you can communicate directly with the person, it's a far better situation than through a translator.
I was impressed with what one of the business owners, Craig Stiles?
Cliff Stiles.
I'm sorry.
Stikes.
There's where I went wrong. I sometimes don't get names right either, so I'm sorry. But
Cliff Stites.
Okay.
And that Cab Door was the very first business that we worked with. They had 50 employees who needed to improve their English skills. I've been to Cab Door since then, and most of them don't need that anymore.
Really?
They've already learned it.
So they're actually practicing on the job with each other talking.
They're actually practicing on the job.
You know, let's watch a video because he had something to say about it.
Yes.
Let's watch that.
An employee of mine came to me one day and he said, look, he says, I'm taking a class at Mid-Valley Literacy, and I didn't know who that was at the time. And he said to me, would you pay for the class? Well, we had an unspoken policy that we were willing to pay for anybody's education. Our belief was that anybody who wanted to better themselves was going to be a better employee. I said, absolutely. One day I began to connect with one of my students and began to realize that, you know, I had never, because of the language barrier, I had never had the opportunity to understand who she was, how she thought, what kind of intelligence that she had. And as a result of that engagement, we had an opportunity to move her into a team leader position. She's been trained by Mid-Valley Literacy Center to be a tutor on site. And now she has this connection that never existed before we had this ability to bring these classes in-house. And with this connection, we continue to build a culture of camaraderie, one that says we're all in this together, a culture that says the company's going to be successful as each employee becomes successful. And she's had that experience. She's been able to go out on the shop floor and see the difference the way they interact with her because she's now their tutor. And they look up to her as that. She now, because of second language training, has had the ability to better her position in the workplace. She's very much engaged. And the fascinating thing is that it's a win-win for her and for Capdoor. So often when we're in business, we tend to focus on the problems and don't necessarily celebrate enough of the successes. And so the satisfaction we get as a business owner to help these employees better themselves and to help them learn this new language has really been wonderful.
Who was the first one to use your program?
It was Capdoor.
Capdoor.
Capdoor was the very first one. We've had 8 businesses with more than 200 employees, and we've got 3 businesses right now that we're engaged with. But they want to wait until the day length is a little bit shorter.
Well, Cliff Stites said something that I read on your website that I thought was really interesting. He said that now business owners sometimes think more in terms of, and I'm paraphrasing him, in terms of issues or problems, and they don't take time to celebrate the successes.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Does that resonate?
Yes, because we need to celebrate successes. You're one of them.
Well, speaking of you, Christopher, may I call you Chris?
Yeah.
What is your story with Mid-Valley Literacy Center?
Well, I got hurt on the job September 2010. I went through a lot through the workers' comp. They ran me through a ringer. And basically, I went to Paul C. With the insurance company, helped me out to try to help me out on my education. He's a great man. I went through the process to go to PCC. It was during the time the pandemic came, and I couldn't get in because they were doing it all online, and I don't have the computer skills to figure out how to do it online. So they moved me up to Salem. I came into Salem and tried to find a place that can help me, and Paul found a place that could help me. I lived in a motel for quite some time to try to get on my feet so I could find a place to live. I ended up going to the local community college in Salem. I got signed up, got a computer, got everything going, sat in a motel to try to get online to do my skills with the computer. I spent most of my time trying to figure out how to get on the computer, to turn on the computer, to get to where I need to be so I could be in class. My daughter, Lindsay, helped me for a long time to try to help me with that. She would come and spend hours after work trying to help me go through the school process. I got started on that, really enjoyed it until it got to a point where it was starting to get more overwhelming because I was spending more time trying to figure out how to work the computer than trying to comprehend what I was learning in school. So then the school opened up, and the local college, I went there for 2 terms. When I walked in class to start, to turn on the computer and everything was a little different than it was sitting in a motel room. I had more help to help me get through that. And I started, well, when I started, they were too far ahead of me, too far advanced. I needed to learn my vowels, basically starting all over, trying to learn how to read and write. My writing looked like a little kid's writing. So I started with doing vowels, started through the process. Well, the kids that were in school, these are high school kids that are trying to get a GED. And here I am, at 63 years old, trying to get enough to figure out how to get a GED alone, have the GED. And I struggled, and I had a counselor there that helped me out at the college. He did so much for me. I'd take all my homework in to his office, counselor's office, and sit in there and try to do my homework. Well, he realized it was just way too much for me. He got a couple of students to try to help me out, and I went through 2 terms of going through that process. And the insurance company says, you know, you have to stay in school, you got to keep it going and everything. And I did, you know, and during that process, you know, I didn't have a driver's license. I couldn't figure out which way to go to even get my driver's license. Finally, I got some help with that. Finally got my driver's license back. It's very nice to have a driver's license instead of driving without a driver's license. And so I still struggle every day on how to pay bills. I don't believe in using my debit card to pay bills because I don't think I'm secure, or I don't think I think I'm qualified to use it, so I don't know how secure my card is. Can they take my information off the card and go charge on my card? I don't know how that system works, so I really don't like using my debit card or nothing over the phone. I do finally found a place to live down off Highway 22. I really enjoy the community over there. I'm involved with the fire department now for breakfasts. I'm involved with the Harvest Festival, the Corn Festival, a lot of the festivals that they have in the small towns of Almsville and Staten. It's, you know, I love it out there. So that's where I'm at now, and then I come back and forth from there to go to school at Adult Learning Center.
Can I ask you if you had any kind of learning disabilities and reading and writing before your accident?
Yes, I did. I had problems in school. My mom helped me out a lot with the school, and basically they just pretty much pushed me through school. You know, and I had a good time in school. It's just that I struggled all the time, and you know, get people call you, oh, you're stupid or something like that. You know, it's just something that went along with it, you know. And now, since I'm 63 years old, I've kind of stepped up to the plate and say, hey, I'm better than that. I could go forward and try to navigate my way through life, and that's what I'm doing now. I just had a brand new grandbaby, and I can't wait to be able to read to her. You know, so, you know, it's just another phase of life I got to go through.
You want to be able to read to your granddaughter.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, it's been a struggle. It really has. I mean, every day's a struggle. You know, so just the way it is.
How do they really support you there?
Yes, they do. They support me a lot for my reading and a lot for my well-being. So,
What helps the most with the reading?
well, I have a teacher named Sue that she's great. You know, she's helped me out a lot. She calls me, sees how I'm doing, see if there's anything she could do to help me. So, yeah, she's been a great person to me. You know, same with the staff. The staff has been great. You know, I mean, Libyans came all the way out to my place to pick me up to take me to school one day, and they take me back home. That's how supportive they are, you know. So, yeah, I hope they take this on. So anyway, so it's been a good thing for me. I'm going to stick with it until I get my GED, because it's something that I really want in my life.
And you can do it.
And I could do it. You know, I miss my job. I miss what I did for a living. I did concrete all my life. So it was all physical work. It was more physical work than sitting behind a desk pushing paperwork. You know, and yeah, I've been with the local 555 cement masons for almost 30 years. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I can just see you sitting there with your granddaughter one day, reading together.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. She's a little pickle. She's so small. It's just, I never seen a baby so small in my life. I mean, to see that and to see the happiest, my daughter's so happy, and her husband Mark is very happy people.
That's wonderful. That's very moving, actually.
Oh, I wanted to say something about my daughter. My daughter's helped me out so much in my life that I could not imagine if I didn't have her. You know, just in trying to navigate through school and trying to navigate through life to try to go forward.
Well, you have a family. That's wonderful.
Yes.
And they're there with you on this. That's
Yes.
just so important and wonderful to see that. We'll keep up with you.
Okay.
I'm sure there's more to tell, and it has a happy ending.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Vivian, you know, what do students tell you about what this literacy program, all of them, do for you?
Well, because most of our students are like Chris, who don't have any education, or they may need to get the GED, or they may need to learn Spanish, or they may need to learn English. They've said that this literacy center has helped them. That's what we do, and all of our staff are just geared toward our students.
How could people volunteer for you?
They call us and tell us that they're interested in volunteering, and they would like to teach a class, and we go through an orientation which takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours first, and then after that we go through a training which is a 3-ring binder that we've developed, and they go through the training. So whether it's GED or whether it's ESOL or whether it's any of the classes, if they've got some kind of tutoring experience, that doesn't make any difference. They don't have to have it. Our training is designed for anyone who does not have that ability to teach, but we like to have them teach.
That's wonderful. Can you also tell me what students who are Spanish-speaking tell you about your programs?
Well, most of our Spanish speakers are learning English, and we have to test them about every term just to make sure that they're in the same level, because if they've had higher levels of education, the level of education that someone has in their first language is directly proportional to how fast they learn English.
Oh.
And so if they've got higher levels of education in their first language, that's great. But if they don't have any education in their first language, we still help them. And our tutors are very, very good about helping them learn their language, and they go through everything from numbers to colors to you name it, everything. And our students have said that they have found that they have not gone anywhere else that helps them the way we do.
How do they get in touch with you?
Most of them are through word of mouth. We don't have any advertisement except I do a lot of presentations at different community organizations to let them know that this is what we do. But we want our students to be able to understand that they have to tell their family members or somebody else, because we don't want to advertise. If we had too many students, we wouldn't be able to help them.
Well, you do have a website. What is it?
Well, the website is www.midvalleyliteracycenter.org.
midvalleyliteracycenter.org.
That's it.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate what you've both told me today. It's illuminating. Just think that out of your efforts, Vivian, so long ago to help people, they're getting that help, and you're finding a community that has stepped up and wants to help you help them.
Exactly.
How about that? Chris Rowels and Vivian Ang, the founder and leader of Mid-Valley Literacy Center. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Insight.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.